Bitcoin will reach the dollar, and that in the next 3 days, welcome to the Crypto Owl. In the next 3 days, Bitcoin will reach the dollar. I said that, and unfortunately, it did not happen. Why I said that and what happened during that time, let's take a look at it now. And I said this here on November 29th, and I was actually quite sure on the 30th of 21, December 2nd. Those are the 3 days, and by December 2nd, at the latest, Bitcoin will reach the dollar. Fortunately, that did not happen, as we can see here. Actually, we did not see any significant upward movement in the last 2 or 3 days. So, the desired effect, even though I actually had information or these preliminary news that existed around certain events that then took place did not occur as expected. Yes, but the crypto market continued to rise in these 3 days. We can see that here. So the curve continued to rise, but instead of Bitcoin shooting up, we saw that in the last 7 days, especially XRP, IOTA, and many others have risen, at least here in the top 100 at this point. But we see that there was also a movement with Bitcoin in 2021. Here, this brief upward movement and then back down. Why, how, and what exactly happened there, we will take a closer look at now. And there is, once again, new money for the crypto market. I know in our Telegram group, which is free, if you are not in it yet, feel free to join. First link in the video description, I keep mentioning that there is new money for the market again. And at this point, that amounts to another significant new billion that has been mined here. So 1 billion USDT from the Tether treasury has been mined here and has flowed into the market. We saw that they then rather surged into the altcoin market and not where suspected, namely into Bitcoin. So what are the decisive reasons why I said that Bitcoin will rise to dollars within the next 3 days? First point, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving happens every year, and even though we have experienced a lull in the crypto market, it is actually the case that we have really seen every year after Thanksgiving people talking about Bitcoin. Right now, where the Bitcoin chart is also looking good, and we who are relatively close have, of course, had many people talking about Bitcoin. And after Thanksgiving, after this weekend where people exchanged ideas with family, it has always been the case that afterwards the chart went up because many people engaged with the topic, where do you invest? What is your retirement plan? So what are you doing? I'm currently in Bitcoin. Is that easy? Yeah, sure. Just sign up at Coinbase and go for it. And we have actually seen that again and again in recent years. And the effect, unfortunately, has somehow been absent this year. So that was my first point, why I said that after the Thanksgiving weekend, which was essentially yesterday, the Monday after Thanksgiving weekend, I actually said that something would still happen. The second point was the Saylor chart. And the Saylor chart basically says that Michael Saylor needs to buy more Bitcoin because he has enough money. And that was indeed the case. And they announced once more that yesterday, on December 2nd, they purchased Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, and are now holding Bitcoin. That's pretty crazy. I always thought that his goal was Bitcoin, which is 1% of the supply. And then that would be it. But now it's already close to 2% of the supply. So this game from MicroStrategy continues on. So Michael Saylor's chart that said, oh, we actually need to buy soon. That was my second indication. And the third indication, which had been speculated before, or rather, there was already some information beforehand, namely that Michael Saylor gave a presentation to the Microsoft board. This didn't really last long. It was not even 4 minutes, just a little over 3 minutes. And that with 44 slides that he presented. And he actually explained to them why Microsoft could, should, and it would be good to invest in Bitcoin. And this initially sparked interest and is now being voted on among the Microsoft investors, respectively. Board and also shareholders. So that's why investors, this is an important topic and will be voted on soon. So this could have actually had a positive effect, but since there has not yet been any announcement, just the presentation first, the voting that now follows, and then of course the consideration of how to implement the whole thing. Yes, actually that was a positive sign up to now, but the chart hasn't cooperated. And if we take another look now, the chart has actually performed rather negatively, at least compared to yesterday. Why? After the advertisement. If you want to invest in cryptocurrencies and simply want to buy many cryptocurrencies, then take a look at Maxi. Maxi has over 2,600 listed cryptocurrencies and a lot of bonuses, e.g. the new registration bonus of up to 8,000 USDT and the 10% cashback on all fees that you receive with the link in the video description. As mentioned, Maxi has over 2,600 listed cryptocurrencies, so the list to visit a cryptocurrency here is incredibly long, and we can see that here. Even if I want to scroll down, it takes a while. You can buy via limit and market price, so you can get the best from the order book here and convert your USDT but also USDC into cryptocurrencies like e.g. Bitcoin, DA. You can go long and short here, and partly with an incredible leverage of up to 200, so very risky, but of course, you can also win a lot here. Additionally, if you are a futures trader, there is an amazing giveaway here of up to 12 million USDT, a total prize pool, and a supercar to win by engaging in futures trading and then participating in this scratch card, then this wheel here, and then another lucky wheel. You can find all the information about it under the supercar giveaway at Maxi. Additionally, there are many bonuses every day, and with their MX token, there are daily Kickstarters, so great events at Maxi. And as mentioned, with the link in the video description, there is 10% cashback. So check out Maxi. And remember the 10% cashback. And everything turned out differently than expected. We saw that the Bitcoin chart even went down in the last hours, or rather, yesterday afternoon. It was extremely just two large red candles in the hourly chart, and everyone was saying, "What's going on? What is this?" Yes, and that is exactly what happened. Namely, the US government moved Bitcoin worth $192 billion to a new Bitcoin address. Now, one might think, okay, that was also my first indication, maybe not always the worst directly, but are these the preparations for the Bitcoin state reserves? Yes. Now one must say, now something has been allowed in the Ukraine war that perhaps a Donald Trump would not have allowed or would not allow. Donald Trump will come to power on January 20th, and everything before that is probably more against Donald Trump or tries to put some obstacles in his way. Yes, we saw that in Ukraine. Now we have seen that with Bitcoin, as it is likely not preparing the US state reserves, but a sale, at least initially, to an exchange. And we have seen that here, namely that the whole thing was received by the US government from Silk Road via Bitcoin, deposited at Coinbase Prime into a hot wallet, meaning they deposited at Coinbase Prime, at least the first Bitcoins, and this naturally leads to people starting to speculate. Are they going to sell now? Are they really buying the last Bitcoins that the USA still has? And is all this going away just so that they have to buy completely when Donald Trump implements it? And it also means that Donald Trump has to buy at high prices, possibly when Bitcoin is above $1, and then one can always accuse him of spending a lot of money on Bitcoin. Will that even bring anything, and so on? Yes, so not nice. And the chart reflected this again as the whole thing went down, and these two red candles were initially caught, but we see we have actually already reached the lowest tip of this red candle and have sunk below $1. So this news was not perceived positively by the chart or the market, and now we should be very curious about where this whole thing is heading. I had already said before this statement about the 3 days and Bitcoin, that I can imagine Bitcoin falling again, and exactly that has happened. So that's why I actually felt quite sure, Bitcoin did exactly that and fell below what I said, even here at around, and then bounced back and climbed up, so that already matched. Then that could also fit with the 2001. But it wasn't the case that the US government, of course, at the end of the day, even adds something on top. Yes, there's nothing you can do about that. That's just the way it is. So it could have turned out well, hence a bold statement from me. I also said, if I had met her maybe 2 days later, that could perhaps be the case. Well, now we have the US Bitcoin transaction, which the market definitely did not perceive positively and is initially like a kind of shock because are they selling now after all? I thought they wanted to take it as a state reserve, but one must simply understand it is still the Biden administration and the Trump administration will come in January. Therefore, I assume that in January, if he really keeps his campaign promises or what he said about ending the war in Ukraine, at least for the USA will probably completely withdraw, and the topic of Bitcoin as a state reserve in the USA. So these are all exciting topics, but we will only address them in January, and then we will probably see higher prices than now. Whether these are the only ones or if there are more remains to be seen. Feel free to share your opinion on all these topics, on the topic of where Bitcoin is headed, or also this bold statement, Bitcoin. In 3 days, please write it in the comments. I would be interested. Remember our free Telegram group. In this sense, I thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.